How you doing? This is Chris from ChrisCuisine. Today we're going to do something kind of different, off the cuff. We're just going to throw together some pork chops, some onions, some jalapenos, some thyme, make a little gravy, smother it all down, and then just have a nice big winter feast. Okay, we're making a little chicken stock here for the gravy. We're just going to put some store-bought chicken stock in, boil it, mix it up, and then later on we'll add it to the delicious concoction. We're going to chop up some jalapenos. You got to cut them, slice them in half, we're going to core them out, and we'll chop them up in small pieces later on, so we're going to add them to our little pork chop dish. This is how you core a jalapeno. You just take out all the seeds, and you take this little stem and you try to get as much of that out as you can. And then you kind of put it over here. And what we're going to do is just, it doesn't matter if a few seeds are in there. You don't want to have too many. And you just do a little bit like that. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. Look at this. Just do a little chop, 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 chop. All right. Slice an onion fairly thin. Get some nice big round circles that we're going to saute in the pan with the jalapeno and a little bit of thyme. It's going to take some time. We're going to remove it from the stems. Just gently take it and use your fingers and your thumb or your forefinger and bring it down like that. Well, we have a bunch of ingredients over here. We're going to have the pork chops. We're going to put some salt and pepper on them. Then we're going to dip them in the rice flour. Rice flour, it's a sweet rice flour from Japan that we're going to use just to give it a little bit of texture and help thicken up the sauce a little bit. So we're going to do that, but first what we're going to do is we're going to take some olive oil and some butter and put it in the pan. And then what we'll do is put it on medium-high heat and saute actually medium heat probably. We'll saute the onions, put the jalapenos in there. And then after that, what we'll do is we'll take those out and then we'll throw in the pork chops to get a good sear on them. And then what we'll do when we're done with that, we'll take the stock. We have some chicken stock here that you saw us make earlier. We'll take that and we'll put it in there and then we'll just boil it all down. And then at the end, add a little bit more rice flour and thicken it up and make a nice gravy. And this will just be a wonderful dish that'll taste very, very good. You can use as much butter as you want. I tend to use a little bit more because I love butter. It's kind of like pork fat. I just love both the good tasty richness of it, the creaminess. It makes it good, especially with the olive oil. The olive oil, what it does is it'll keep the butter from burning, and that helps it from getting too bitter. Put a little salt and pepper on the pork chops, season them up nice. Always wash your hands, especially when you touch raw meat, things like that. Put a little pepper on here, see? And just gently pat it down so it kind of sticks in there. If you don't do that, sometimes it falls off. This just makes it a little bit better, gives it the seasoning a little bit more chance to stick to the meat. Yeah. Okay, we just turn this pan on. We're gonna put it on like a medium-low temperature to medium, so the pan gets just hot enough so we can take all these onions and saute them, caramelize them, get them nice and sweet and delicious. Here the butter's melting, the olive oil's getting nice and hot. In a couple seconds we're just going to toss in the onions and then we'll just put a little bit of salt in just to get them to sweat a little bit. And that's what makes it really, really unctuous. We're going to add the onion to the pan and just saute them for like 6 or 7 minutes so they get nice and caramelized. We're using white onion here, or actually no, we're using Spanish onion, I'm sorry. That gives it a nice sweet yet piquant flavor. Now first what we're going to do too is, I didn't do this earlier, but we're going to just add a pinch of salt here, kind of help the onions sweat a little bit. Now we're going to take the jalapeno. We've got about 2 jalapenos here chopped in about quarter inch size pieces, 1/8 of an inch size. We're just going to put it in here with the onions, let it saute, cook down a little bit. We'll give it a little spice, but also a little pepper flavor that'll make it nice and give it a little bit of a bite to it. Here we're going to take all the onions. They've kind of softened up a little bit. We use a slotted spoon so we don't put too much oil with it. We want to leave some of the oil in the pan so we can use it to saute the pork chops. As you can see here, we're just going to put it in here, let them cool off a little bit. We'll make the sugars kind of coagulate a little bit. And also, it won't overcook the jalapenos either. If you do that, they get a little bitter sometimes. We still want them to maintain their sweetness and their spiciness. If you could smell this now, you'd be going, that's so good. Yeah, we just turned the exhaust fans on. I want to take the grease and all the hot smoke out of here. What we're going to do is take these already pre-seasoned pork chops, Jalapeno pork chops. We're just going to dip them slightly in the Japanese rice flour. This dish is kind of like a fusion dish. It's going to be American, it's going to be Japanese, and it's also going to be a little Mexican because we're using the jalapenos. See, we're just going to shake it off, and we're going to dump it in here. Listen to the sizzle. Woo! All right, one more. No mas. Hi. See, I'm speaking Japanese and Mexican. I'm very talented, not only as a chef, but as a person who can speak great languages. All right, here we go. Here's the last one. Voila. Now look, I'm washing my hands. I just touched the fork. Using a little soap, antibacterial soap. This is how you do it. So we're just going to take a quick look at this, see if it's brown. Yeah, it looks a little brown. Give it a couple more seconds under the heat. Now when you cook pork, you want to cook it to about 160 degrees. What we're going to do is we'll get out our trusty little thermometer here. I've had this one for about 20 years. You can't even see the numbers on it, but it works better than anyone I've ever had. If I ever lose it, I'll die. Okay, we're going to turn them now. I think they're ready to turn. Look at that. See how it's nice and crusty? You get a nice crust. Alright? And also, the good thing about this is that the flour will do is it will help thicken the sauce. Take the meat, stick it over here for a second. You gotta take all this fat off. The pork creates a lot of fat. So we're gonna take this off, make this a little white thinner. You gotta be careful when you use it, you don't burn yourself. So let me show you. I'll show you right here. Here we go. Let's do it over here, okay? Very hot. So pour this off. Alright. Take it and wipe it so we don't start a grease fire. The last thing we want to do. The pan's very hot. So we're going to take about a half a cup of vermouth, white vermouth, and just put it in here. Look at it steam up. Alright, that's going to glaze the pan. Take all those little brown bits off there. Make our sauce even better. Alright. Now we're talking turkey, pork. Yeah. All right, now we'll take this, put these back in. Okay. Now we're gonna take all this good juicy stuff, put this back in too with it. All right. We're gonna take a couple sprigs of thyme, throw them in there. Then we're gonna take some chicken stock, pour it in here too. Okay, we're going to take this, get it, bring it to a boil. Comes to a boil, what we're going to do is we are going to put a top on it, put a lid on it. Put a lid on it. Great song by the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. So it's not quite yet to boil. I'm just going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, until it becomes 160. Right now, the internal temperature is only about You're not going to be able to see it. You have to have amazing eyes. It's about 120 or so, 130. So it's going to have to cook 15-20 minutes to give it a really, really good temperature. So it's a safe heat. All right, I think it's got. You think it's got a good little bubble going on? Yeah, I think so. Just give it a quick little stir. A little bit of this on top. Okay. Put the lid on it. Just leave it slightly ajar so some steam gets off. Then we're going to turn it down to a simmer. You don't want it to boil up, because if it does, it makes a big mess. And Mama is not happy in the kitchen when they make a big mess. All right, there we go. Taking a look at it now. Temperature's about 150. We're going to give it a few more minutes here to cook. You can see it. Just look at that. It's all kind of boiled down. All the flavors have melded together. There's a nice, beautiful color on the pork chops. It's going to be really good. I think it's just about ready. It's about 160 degrees internal temperature on the pork. What we're going to do right now is take each of these chops off. Doesn't that look good? The jalapenos have just mellowed in there along with the onions. A little thyme, we're going to pull that out too, because we don't want that on our meat. And then we're going to take this, and what we're going to do now is just kind of stir it up a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of this flour here. See this flour? This is going to thicken it up a little bit. It's very light rice flour, sweet Japanese rice flour. Not a whole lot, but it'll sweeten it up just a tad and thicken it up. All right. And just take a spoon. We'll stir it around a little bit. Bring it to a boil. When you bring it to a boil, what it does is enhance the thickening. Gets the thickening a little bit quicker. It's going to be a nice little gravy. It's just going to smother it. It's called smothered fusion Japanese and Mexican pork chops. Just made this up on the spot. Took what I had in the pantry, just made it all up. That's what you got to do sometimes. You don't always need a recipe. Okay, we got a little black chunks in here. We're going to take these suckers out because they don't look very appetizing to me. I don't know about you, but I don't think they're that great. Alright, see how it's starting to boil and see how it'll start thickening? It'll make it nice and thick, a good gravy. Go great on mashed potatoes, go great on rice. Anything like that. You can put it in a taco if you want. See how it's starting to simmer here? Alright, we're going to turn it down just a tad. I think it's ready to go. So what we're going to do at the last minute now, you always want to add your herbs at the last minute. That way they stay fresh. We're just going to take some and just sprinkle them all around in the sauce. Here, we'll just do this. Boom. You can take these. We're going to grab the plates. See that plate over there? We're going to take another plate. What we're going to do here, it's just like everything. I'm going to go bam, bam. Really bad impression, but hey, that's what I do, bad impressions. Take this here. Oh, we don't want that. All right. So now this is all cooked up. It's going to be really good. Just stir it around a little bit. Smothered fusion pork chops. All right. Sop it up with bread. I mean, just look at those. Look at those onions just gently fall onto that pork chop in the most delicious way. And the sauce is going to have a little bit of spice to it, but it won't be overpowering. But the sweetness of the onions and the sweetness of the chicken stock is just going to make this one gosh darn good meal. Anyway, there you go. From ChrisCuisine. There's your on-the-spot pork chops. Fusion, Japanese, Mexican, American. Voila. Got into it right here. Look at that. Nice and moist in the center. Take a little bit of this gravy and onion and jalapeno. All I can say is, oishi, oishi. Delicioso. Magnificent. It's delicious. You gotta try this. See you next time.